All right, so I'm going to explain to you why the devil of this world is a woman. It has to do with the inversion, just like we see in the pentagram. Pentagram is symbolic of inversion because it is an inverted or perverted world that we live in. Everything here is in an inverted way because the person that runs this world is evil. Okay. It has to do with the forces of good versus evil. In the end, that's basically what it has to do with. So the reason why you see all these modern day women acting so narcissistic and so, pardon me, is so hatredful for men and mankind is because it is the devil and the evil side working against man. Because man, of course, in the biblical sense, and when I reference the biblical sense, I'm not talking about the Christian way of looking at it, because that is nothing more than a fairy tale. I'm referencing it in the coded messages that are embedded within it, because the Bible is written in code. So I'm not referencing the Christian way that people think about it. That is nothing more than a made-up story. The Bible is much more darker than people think it really is. That's why occultists study it. So it's all it has to do with is the forces of good and evil. So when we look at the Garden of Eden, it was Eve, the woman, who disobeyed and went with the snake because, angry Mgtow, I mean, he said something that just was really interesting. He said, woman was sent here as a test from the Creator, and when we failed the test, we were punished by that. It's just an interesting way to look at it, but I think it has a lot of sense with what I'm going to say. So, the devil of this world is a woman because it's the inverted. What is the opposite of man? It's woman. So, if the devil was to come down, again, using the reference of the Garden of Eden, the woman was used to tempt the man into having the evil side take a hold by manipulation. All right, so the devil of this world is a woman because it's just the inversion of man, because God was synonymous with being a man, or is known, at least in the best way we can understand it, as being a man, and I would say so myself. He is a man. Otherwise, there wouldn't be man or woman, So that's what it's about. That's why you see your modern day women acting the way that they're acting, and all this crap is because it has to do with Lilith, or who is portraying one aspect of the devil. All right, that's why they are against each other in this odds of good versus evil. So woman today in this world, because we live in an inverted world, is representing the inverted way of what women are, the feminine characteristics and all that stuff, submissiveness, whatever the fuck. Okay, because the devil of this world is a woman. That's where you hear the term "the devil wears Prada." Where do you think that comes from? The devil wears Prada, because it's a woman. That's why we see all this pussy worship bullshit going on today, because we're worshiping something that people don't understand. Because there's an occultic, secret-coded message of why. Okay, so women today are narcissistic. They abort their children. They hate men. They take off. It's because the behavior is replicable of what the devil is doing, which is he's working through the woman, just like in the Garden of Eden, to get the man to tempt him. Okay, it's all code. I'm not talking about the Christian stuff that people think about. This is a coded, occultic codes that are in the Bible. Just to clear that up. So this is why modern day women today act the way that they act. The devil of this world is a woman, because it is the inversion of man, and the man was synonymous with being with the Creator. So they wanted to overthrow man. This is why women want to pretend to be men. They want to pretend to be men. This is why we see all these TV shows portraying a woman in positions where man should be placed, because this is what it's about. That's what it's about, people. That's all it is. And so a man going your own way, how does that apply to all this? Well, it applies perfectly, I think. Because when you understand what I'm trying to tell you, you realize that we're dealing with something much bigger than just women, a bunch of crazy women who hate men. We're dealing with this in a way that this story has been played out hundreds of times of the history of this earth. Lilith, and I'm going to be talking about this later on today with Angry Mgtow. So if anybody wants to come into that chat, we're going to be discussing Lilith and the devil being a woman, because this is what it's about. The devil is a woman. It is the inversion of man. The man is the image of the Creator, which is man. This is why there's man and woman. If God wasn't man, then there would be no purpose of having man or woman, or even having the gender to begin with. What would be the point of that? So Lilith is the representation of why we see the women today acting the way that they act, because Lilith is the devil. Just remember, it is the pentagram, it is the inversion, it is the perverted way of doing it, because this world's run by the devil. That's just how it is. Okay? That's why the women today are, they act in all of evil ways. I listed and made a video about this, talking about women in your modern day dating scene and this narcissism. Why do you think the courts, which are tied with the government, which are tied with the powers that run this world, why would they do that to man? And why are all these messages coming out where, you know, this whole transsexual agenda bullshit is turning men into women? Because it is inverting the natural order of things in this world. That's what it's about. This is why women are allowed to, in most cases, they get away with more. That's why. Because they are the inversion. They are the devil. Women are the perverted, inverted sense of what women, in the context that we have grown up to know them as, are everything that is not. Because the devil of this world is a woman. Because it has to do with the inversion of man, which is made in the image of the Creator, which is man. That's why. So I wanted to explain that, because it is an important thing that a lot of people just don't understand. Part of it's just because, you know, we're not taught these things. I'm interested in the occult. I've studied it for about 2 years, which is nothing. But I've learned so much from people and how the true meaning of this world really works, and why people in this world get to be in positions of power and make a lot of money. All has to do with bloodline, and it all has to do with, you know, being embedded with the bloodlines. That's all it has to do with. That's why, you know, people that work really hard in this world don't get anywhere. Again, it's the inversion. Black versus white, yin versus yang, left versus right. There's no middle. So if you want to get to be in positions of power, you have to do inverted or perverted things to get there. That's how you make it, because it's the inversion of good. Not working hard, not showing yourself, not being reputable. It's everything exact opposite of that. So when we're looking at man versus woman, it's the same thing. Because the devil that runs this world is a woman, because it's the inversion of man, which is the image of the Creator. Remember that. I'm drilling that into everybody's heads, because that is really what's going on here. So on a final note, again, I'm going to be talking about this more this afternoon with Angry Mgtow, 8 p.m. Central Time. I'm sorry, 8 p.m. I think Pacific Time, which would be, in my time, that would be 10 o'clock. So if you want to make the chat, feel free to. I'd love to have you guys throw in your input and discuss this. I think this is a very important thing that we need to understand as Mgtows. And on a final note, so what does this have to do with Mgtow, and how do men realize this? How, you know, what do we go from here is basically what I'm trying to say. Well, now that you understand that's what's going on, it's pretty straightforward from that point. Don't engage with any women. It's that simple, because we're dealing with, you see, the environment affects how you end up behaving. Your environment affects how you end up behaving. So if we live in a perverted, inverted environment, how do you think women are going to turn out? This is why I'm going my own way. This is why I don't associate with women. Because how in the world is that even going to work when our environment is perverted and inverted? You're not going to be able to adequately have any kind of meaningful, you know, whatever with the opposite sex in a perverted, inverted environment. It's going to get the best of them. That's why women have such provocative clothes. Provocative clothes, provocative TV shows, whorish behavior, outlandish behavior, feminism, narcissism, sociopathic disorder, personality disorder, antidepressants, and the modern day dating scene. It's because that's why. You have to realize this as a man. You have to know that there's much more going on. And I just explained to you why. And this is why you shouldn't associate with any modern day women. Because when the environment is sick and perverted and inverted, how is that even going to work? It's not going to. It's not meant to. So, appreciate everybody for listening. I wanted to just explain a little bit more occultic. I wanted to explain this whole man versus woman feminist dynamic from basically a different perspective, which is from the occultic perspective, which is what I study in my free time. And this is what I've come to the conclusion to. And I feel like it's an important message that we need to understand as men going our own way, is that what we're a part of is so much bigger than what you could possibly imagine. And so if you're a guy out there and you're seeing these modern day women, just remember what's going on. And, you know, I don't care what anybody says. You know, everybody calls Mgtows basement dwellers and all this other bullshit. Whatever, just let them say what they want to say, because like I explained, there's much more going on here. And we're a part of something much greater than most people understand. So that's all I had to say. I appreciate everybody for listening. Again, and I'm going to be chatting with Angry Mgtow later on, 8 p.m. Pacific time, and Central Standard Time would be 10 o'clock my time. So, alrighty. I hope everybody has a good one. I'd love to hear everybody's feedback on the video. Tell me what you think. You know, give me some input. Love to hear it, and hope everybody has a good one.